At work,
2-minute warning.
hold out and
Hear the echo.
You're
But yeah,
welcome.
same thing.
I just didn't want to run into what happened last
Mine
time
is
because
kinda
it
messing me up.
ran over. So
How's it
let
going?
me do a warning.
Right.
Thank you for getting right back to me. Made me feel a little bit better.
Oh, I had, does anyone need an agenda?
I did. I would
Yes,
like
please.
one.
Okay, I do have them.
Thank you, Katie.
I'll take one too, Katie.
I like to write on them.
I got one, Doug.
Oh, you got
Oh, no, it's same one. It's not double sided.
it. Yeah, I like to write on them too.
And then I put them in my car. and-
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I used to do with the board packet. I would,
Yeah.
especially over the policies.
Can I like pay,
printed
give
one
money
thing.
to get them
We just
mailed
told
back
them
to me?
not to. Like, if you want it, just
Good
mail it
idea.
to you. She'll mail it to you.
She'll mail it to me? 'Cause I would cover the cost of the mail if that's the reason we're not doing it.
No,
getting there.
it just
Very-
felt
very
like save
helpful.
money.
Yeah,
I would rather.
This
get-
weekend
I would
will be
rather-
the fun
I would
one.
rather
I,
go to mail.
it's,
Luckily-
my organization's so much better.
We were supposed
Can
to.
I do that? When do you
we're
usually?
looking at the weather forecast next week. My granddaughter's gonna be in Florida, but I'm like,
Right,
oh
so
my
if I
God,
stop by
there's
on
another
my-
storefront next Wednesday.
I'll put a note in that. If I make that in my calendar, I can remember. to stop.
It was originally 17.
We're now at 6:30.
Now I know.
We'll give Katie just 1 second to.
Busy.
Nope, you're good. Are you good? Everybody good with what they need?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will start with the pledge. All right. Good evening, everybody. Agenda adjustment. We do not have any for this evening that I am aware of. Okay. Consideration of the minutes to approve the minutes of the January 2022, 2025. January 22, 2025.
So moved.
School board meeting. Thank you. Thank you. If that's any indication, we are not off to a good start. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? All those opposed? You're in favor? We have it in favor there as well. Thank you. Is that opposed, in favor,
In
delayed? In
A little late there. We should have just taken a snow day. Like, I'm here.
Okay. Any petitions or communications this evening? No? Okay. I think we're all ready for February break, huh? I don't even get a break, but public comment is next. We open up the floor for public comment. I don't see anybody. All right. Moving right along. Reports 5.1, Superintendent's report.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do some highlights from updates that I've sent to the board. Cinderella was a great production, and Aspen, you had a great time, you said, a lot of fun. She played one of the stepsisters, but Cinderella was a great performance. I don't know if anyone was able to also go to it, no? But they did Teresa did good. They did an incredible job, and the orchestra, the music, the dancing, the singing, it was just such a great production. Nicole and I did, and Teresa attended the Litchfield Select Board meeting to tell them about the Sabatis primary closing and the process for that. They had some good questions, but not a lot of questions, just process and so forth. And then, as I've noticed around sportsmanship, as we all know, and Jim's here, but, the sportsmanship, we take it very seriously about the sportsmanship, had some really good discussions on it. I know Christy's going to report out for the policy committee, but we do have a policy coming to you about sportsmanship. And so gives us a little leverage. Jim's working on posters with Brian that are going to be made that can be posted around what our core values are around sportsmanship. The other thing is announcing at games and competitions around what the expectations are. And we also talked about really trying to be proactive when we see the crowd, you know, perhaps getting a little too intense, that it's addressed quickly so that we can be proactive and not have it go to an extreme. So I know Brian and Jim have been talking about how to continue to make that a better situation. The other things were 100th Day was Friday, and a lot of fun things were going on last Friday. Libby Tozier, I got to see the Litchfield Seniors Band and Chorus celebration, and the kids all had their stuffies, and that was a lot of fun. And Sabatis Primary had their rock and roll day, along with doing 100th Day. Also want to appreciate the nominations. We had 8 teachers nominated by staff members, parents, administrators, fellow colleagues, and those were Jody Haskell from Libby Tozier, Megan Anderson from the middle school, Kyle Stanley from the middle school, Angela Roy from the high school, Derek Anderson from the high school, Erica Federico from the high school, Brooke Howlett from the high school, and Emily Sue Barker from the high school as well. So congratulations to them. The Norma Jean and her team have been working really hard to get continue to improve the remote learning days, especially for our younger students, just to make sure parents and students and teachers have all the support they need during remote learning days. Principals have been reporting popping into different classrooms and seeing the high engagement from students. High school has had very good attendance on the remote days. So, you know, we've been watching attendance, watching the engagement, and it seems to be going well. And yes, we have another one tomorrow. We're in a little bit of a pattern. Hopefully the pattern can, after February vacation, settle down. The other thing is noted that it was this Tuesday that we were doing the Winter Kids Downhill. It's the Tuesday after vacation, and the high school's been doing a lot with that around students signing up to go to Lost Valley, and there's been assignments of chaperones and who's going to be at Lost Valley. And for students who aren't attending Lost Valley, they're doing some winter fun activities so that those students can engage in outdoor or indoor activities. Anything else to highlight? So those were the big things. So lots going on.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I'd really like to address the sportsmanship piece, and I know we got a policy that we're working on to come out about that. Mm-hmm. But I've been associated with Oak Hill since the day it opened in 1976, and that had to be, I watched that video, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I think we as a board have to act to make sure that our athletic directors know that this board's behind them. So I think the policy piece has to have some type of penalty for parents or spectators that go above and beyond, and even if it's a one-year ban, because we just cannot afford to let that go on with just one game or a season suspension. You know, and I think we have to stand behind our athletic directors so they have the confidence to know that if they make a decision, that we're gonna stick by it. Because that was, Jim, you know, you've been here a long time. Have you ever seen anything that outrageous happen? Okay. So I think we need to, in the policy, and I know Christy's working on the policy, there has to be a penalty that is going to be strong enough to make people think twice before they come down on a court or out on a field to accost a referee or another team player or anything like that. I think that was the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. That's all I got to say about it, and I hope that we can come up with a policy that will stick.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to our director's reports, starting with Nora Jean for technology.
I have a
Okay. So Katie, let me get on this. On. It's on. So a little bit more update from Katie had brought this up, but it was great, and it was actually initiated by Cherie Poole, principal at SPS. So she was wonderful. There were some issues for the first remote day. She invited us to SPS to their staff meeting where we get to listen to the teachers, listen to the concerns, and then we pulled together as a team, hit the school on Tuesday, and started reconfiguring from input from the technology staff that said maybe we should do it this way. So we redid all the machines, visited all the machines over a couple of days, tested them. The kids were great. The teachers were great. And then we developed a new parent tip sheet, sent it out to the parents. And I think it went way better the second time, which was great. And so this week, the tech team went to Libby Tozier and did the same thing, so that hopefully tomorrow is much better for them as well. So Zoom likes to change things every now and then, and so we just have to check and adjust. That's what we do, and make it better each time. So that one is that. And then the next one is just a little overview of what we've been doing as an A team, the tech coaches, the technology department, just kind of going over and evaluating everything. And I think Katie's been updating you as well, that we've gone through everything. So line by line, the technology, looking at the instructional technology, the infrastructure, hardware. If SBS closes, what can we take out of that school to move over to Libby Tozier or Carrick or somewhere to supplement? So we've been reviewing everything, looking at phones, intercoms, PA, all our instructional technology. Do we have any duplication? Do we have any holes? Have there been new requests? So we've been looking at everything like really closely. And why it's important is we want to make sure that we're not spending money on something we don't need. Our phone systems are getting older, so we kind of have a plan of how we're going to replace those, so it isn't a big jump in money, so we have a gradual phase in, which is great. We've had some issues at Libby Tozier, which you'll probably will hear about as we're doing the budget, is their PA in the gym decided to kind of die, so we kind of have that taped together. It might make us through June, we're hoping. And then they have the old switch intercom, and so we've been working with a vendor to see if SBS closes, can we bring the intercom from Zabatis Primary, integrate that into Libby Tozier. The floor plan's about the same size, so we're hoping that that will work out as well. So trying to be very smart about our purchases and everything. And then and all these decisions, all these conversations, which have been amazing, where we actually talk about what is this technology, what does it do, can this technology do the same thing, do we need this? So, I'm enjoying it, every piece of it. It's amazing, and then it will help the budget process for conversations with all of you, and also educate everybody for what may be removed or may be added and why. So, that is my board report. Any questions for me?
No? All right, thank you. Mark Taylor, Operations Director.
Hope everybody's well. This will be pretty quick, honestly, even though there's a lot of work and there's a little bit of time here. So, budget sessions. It's been nonstop. I meet with Sam probably more than I feel I should sometimes, but I thank you, Sam. Annual safety meeting happened in the last month. That's something I'm really starting to enjoy about this job, getting everybody together. We did a head custodian meeting this last month. That again is really good knowledge. I can hear it right from the source, and usually we get a lot of collaboration and good stuff done. Heating fund. It has been very cold, and it has been a strategic challenge to keep these buildings where they need to be. Daily monitoring, daily issues. Working with head custodians and Siemens, been very successful. Haven't heard too much negative feedback, but you do get a little, and it's expected. We're already planning for outside work, lining up outside projects, from little things like masonry or different repairs, but we're on it right now. Been working really hard with the custodial staff to keep our grounds safe. It's been slippery, it's been icy, and that has been a challenge in itself. And my big thing I've been working on right now is I'm working on finding a buyer for our wood pellet boiler at the high school. And I'm actually having a meeting coming up with Oxford Hills Operation Director. And they are interested in, perhaps, we don't know where this will go, but they can't find parts for their wood pellet boiler. And that's been since September when I come aboard here. That's been one of my missions. is to get that off our property. It's driving me crazy. So I will keep you guys posted. Nothing's in stone, but the guy's interested. They need it. They can't find parts. And we have one that's completely operational. So that's about where I'm at right now for operations. And of course, snow, snow, snow. We're on it. It's more's coming. Any questions for us or?
Mark,
Yes, sir.
on the heating thing, we switched over to gas
Liquid propane.
liquid propane at Libby Toja.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not using the kerosene anymore.
Correct. But there are some spots that, Kerry Ricker outside garage.
Right.
Kerosene.
Yeah.
So there are some spots that are needed for it. Very limited amount.
Right. But we're not using the lion's share of it like we used to.
Absolutely correct.
And the same thing at Kerry Ricker,
Kerry Ricker, we're on liquid propane.
liquid propane, and the middle school,
Liquid propane. Sabatis Primary is our
last
oil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else, guys? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheena?
Yep, Sheena Jordan, Transportation Director.
All right, good evening. So it's been a good month for us in the transportation department. A friend and I got crafty last month and we made the drivers all sweatshirts. We gave them to them at our last bus driver meeting, and it was just really nice to be able to give something to them, and to see their look on their faces was just so heartening. So we did that for them, and we these are some quotes from kids for their bus drivers. For those who can't see the screen there, he plays good music. She's kind of strict, but it's a good thing. That way we don't get hurt. He's an amazing bus driver, but he would be a good actor too. He does voice impressions. My favorite is SpongeBob, but the Grinch is good too. She is nice and she drives slow to keep us safe. She doesn't talk loud. Whenever we get loud, she gives us warnings instead of screaming at us. Our bus driver is kind and he makes me laugh. He reminds us to take our things with us by joking around with us that he will sell our stuff in a yard sale this weekend if we leave it on the bus. She sings songs to remind us that we need to sit on the bus. And there are so many other comments, but those are some that stood out to us. We've integrated PBIS this month on the buses. For our elementary schools, we started introducing bus bucks. So our elementary students can earn a bus buck per bus ride that they ride. So that is doing what the expectations are, being on the bus. Drivers now have a poster along with the Be Responsible, Use Respect, and Stay Safe. They have more detailed rules for students to see and be able to follow, and the drivers are able to give those bus bucks out to them, and it's been very successful so far. We've been doing it about a week now, but I've heard, and the schools too have heard very positive things. So what they do with those bus bucks is they bring them to the office, and some of them are doing where they can draw up for a prize. And then Kerry Ricker is doing something a little bit different where they have their buckets that they're filling up for each bus color. And then whoever color has the most, they get to do something special. We're doing a driver either lunch or breakfast with students. So students that have earned them can have either breakfast or lunch with their bus driver. So I want to give a shout out to Tracy Ireland for helping out with that. She came in and trained the drivers and helped them with wording when it comes to giving out bus bucks. So for us students, when things are positive, they're recognized, those students are more likely to repeat those positive behaviors. So yeah, that's all I have this month. Does anybody have any questions?
What's I probably I don't know, not this meeting, but maybe the next, you know, behavioral issues, have they gone down?
They have.
They have?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did get an email today, actually, from Tracy. She monitors that kind of
Yeah.
stuff across the 3 elementary schools, and she said they have seen a decrease in
Great.
that. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
I just had a question about like aides on the buses.
Mhm.
Is there opportunity for maybe some of the high school kids to get volunteer hours by doing that, or?
That's a great question. I can definitely look into that. It's a really great idea.
Okay, thanks.
Hmm.
Yeah, my daughter got a bus box, so I was like, what is this? They're very excited. Very excited for
You'd
it.
think that you're giving them $1 million, so.
Yeah. Exactly. So thank you. And Jim Palmer, adult ed and athletic director.
Okay, good evening. The good news is nobody came into the adult ed classroom complaining about their grade this past month, so that's the good news. You gotta make light. So some of the updated classes we've had, we've been doing the substitute training like we always do. We've had 14 participants in that. With the high set and diploma, we've already have 5 completed, 5 high sets, one that will complete their diploma this year. I anticipate we'll end up between 8 and 10, similar to last year at the end of the year. Credit recovery is where we've currently been working with 6 students, and credit recovery is when we work with a senior or a junior who might have not been successful with a class during day school, but they want to graduate on time, so we offer a class with our instructor to be able to get them to earn that credit so that they can graduate on time. So that's one of the nice things that we offer in working with the administration at the high school with guidance. We get these students up there to complete. Enrichment, our enrichment numbers are down, just haven't been able to focus a lot of time on enrichment, but we've started a pickleball class that was generated by cheering moms, Sam, who wanted some activity while their children were cheering, so we were able to put together a class over at Carrie Ricker. Some of the other enrichment stuff that we've had is crochet. We're going to be doing, not necessarily enrichment, but we're going to be doing a CPR first aid class in March, and hopefully an outdoor pickleball class as the weather gets better. Driver's education, we still offer that. We're somewhere between 60 and 70 students for the year for that, and our class this coming session will be a big one because it's in between athletic seasons, which is usually what happens as we get a big draw when there's no practices. So as far as athletics, just to real quick talk about the sportsmanship. It just was unfortunate that one incident puts that label on us as not being a very sportsmanlike school, and it was embarrassing. It was sad, but overall, I felt like our sportsmanship was pretty good and has been good. We actually just got notification today, part of a co-op for girls ice hockey with Lewis and Mount Ararat and Morse. We received the sportsmanship award, which they'll get on Saturday at the state game. So that was good news. But yeah, so we like Katie said, we're going to address some of the things. We do a pregame announcement, but my previous time as athletic director, sometimes we had a captain do that. That might be something that we look at. So it's a little bit more, has a little bit more impact. But we will go forward and try to put together some stuff so that we get back on track. So as far as the athletes, went to the regional cheering competition a couple weeks ago in Bangor, and we were 9th, and they took 8 to the state, so we just missed it. But the girls did a great job competing. We were very early, so I think we left at 6:30, and we were on at 10:15. So that's a tough turnaround for me to drive up to Bangor. We were hoping to be in Augusta, but Unified basketball, definitely a breath of fresh air. If you haven't been to a Unified game, you should try to get to one. We had our first one last week, and unfortunately because of the snow, we've been bumped a little bit. We were planning to have one during the school day yesterday, tomorrow against Lewiston in front of the student body, which was done last year and was had a lot of good response from it. So we'll look to make that game up, but unified team is going strong. We had the first game we had a 55-55 tie. So, and we have, if you see our student section there, we had our unified players leading the YMCA song at halftime. So, youth nights, we had a good turnout for both of our youth nights. I separated the nights so that we had a girls' night and then a boys' night, and there was good turnout. So we'll continue to do that with our programs. And CIA, before we do CIA, I just want to mention a couple other sports. So we did do a individual co-op with swimming. So we have a swimmer that swims with EL individually, and he'll compete in the States coming up. Skiing, we have a skier that we individual co-op with St. Dom's. And as I mentioned, girls hockey, we co-op, and they're currently in. I just came back from the hockey games. We had a boys game and a girls game today, and the girls was a playoff game. When I left, it was scoreless. For that one, the boys was the last regular season. They're fourth, and they should be in the playoffs as well, starting next week. And they're the score was 2-2 when I left, and they went into overtime. So I don't have an update yet. And then wrestling, we had one wrestler wrestling with the co-op with Lisbon. We had a senior night at our place for him, which was, we had a good crowd. We had Mr. Taylor there watching his son. So it was a nice event to be able to have that at our place. So any questions? Yeah?
Yeah, Jim, for the enrichment classes, I mean, I was talking to a few firemen. Maybe we can think about having like an introduction to junior firefighters with all three chiefs. I mean, they can always use more volunteers.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And you did mention that
Yeah.
previously, and I hadn't followed up on that, so
Yeah.
I'll make a note of that to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying it's probably, a lot of people might want to do it, but they don't know how to get in contact or start.
Yeah.
And if, you could have like an introduction talk, they could set up a small, maybe a 4 or 5 night program, what's expected, what they're going to learn.
Yep. No, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions?
All right, thank you. Shelley Mogul, Curriculum Assessment and Instruction Director.
Just that would have been nice. All right. Let's see. So I just have one slide tonight, brief little update. I was trying to decide what to put in there for visual, and I thought, why not snow, right? Seems to be all we see. So our winter assessment window ends Friday. Just this afternoon, I was at SPS doing a little data dive with the teachers there, which is great. Access testing, which is the required testing of our multilingual learners. That window closes the end of February. So we're working on that. We are in the early stages for planning summer school. So I have this in here because I just want to make sure that everyone knows that for the last few years, summer school has been paid for with COVID relief money, and those funds have all expired now. So we're planning now to try to just really figure out what we need for summer programming and what the structure will be. Sam and I do have a webinar coming up shortly. There's going to be some reallocated title funds again that districts can apply for. What I heard from the DOE reps was that they're expecting a lot of interest in those funds because for the last few years, everybody's been using COVID money for summer programming. So, and that we could only use for elementary. So it is likely that what we end up planning and putting into the budget, because it's going to be a local cost, is probably going to be scaled back from what it's been for the past few years when there's been extra money in the form of COVID funds. But we will keep you updated. We're working on what we need and what we can do. And then I'm just really excited to say that we have worked out an agreement with Lewiston High School so that our 4 high school students who are multilingual learners have just this week started an English class at Lewiston High School because we haven't been able to find a teacher, even though the position's been open. And so they're using the LRTC transport, and they're going over to have English every other day, first period, with a teacher who's certified in multilingual education. So a big thank you to Marco and Mel and Aaron because they've been working to arrange the visit. I can't even tell you how many times it got interrupted by a delayed start or a snow day. So they took them over for a visit so they could meet the teacher and just make that work. And they've done a lot to rework their schedules also. And thank you, obviously, to Lewiston Public Schools for working with us to provide this opportunity. We are so hopeful that we'll find a teacher for next year, but there's not a lot of them out there in this field. So I'm grateful to Lewiston that we could work this partnership out. So, any questions? I think I'm the last one. I am.
All right, thank you. And our student rep tonight, Aspen, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Lily's not here. She's sick, so just me.
Everybody's sick lately.
I know. So for Winter Carnival, we have been preparing for Winter Carnival, which will be the week after February break. OHLA has been working to plan that out, deciding like dress-up days, putting the assembly and the dance. Honestly, it's just like a very fun time of the year, especially it being after February break, kind of getting people out of that slump of this long, long winter. So school spirit, very good. Like you had mentioned, Lost Valley Takeover is also happening the week after break, so we're very excited for that. Like a lot of people are going, I know. And for the people who aren't, like you said, there are activities at the school. Just like even in the halls, like I hear people talk about it like every day. And people are very excited. So JMG recently took a trip to the Humane Society in Portland, as well as to the Maine State Police Academy. At both places, they were able to get firsthand experience and insight into these careers, and were able to engage with the community. I think they have fun stuff planned coming up. Not super sure. Asked my sister; she was not helpful. She's like, I don't know. The drama club finished their production of Cinderella. It was very awesome. We had a really good turnout. Sunday, like we had to pull chairs into the auditorium because there were not enough seats in there. So it was really, really great. We are now moving on to our performance of the one-act competition, which will be in March. It's actually an original piece that Mr. Zeus wrote. It's called Schrodinger's Classroom. It's very, very fun. While our like official performances are like going to be at the competition, the dress rehearsal is free and open to the public. FBLA is preparing for the state competition, studying competitive events that have all been assigned, working on projects, case studies, speeches, tests. We also have, I think, 3 people, students running to be FBLA state officers. And I know that Oak Hill, it's mainly Oak Hill and Monmouth, but a lot of Oak Hill kids actually comprise like the majority of the state board, which is really just super cool to have that sort of influence. Academic Decathlon similarly has actually begun state competition. We had our essay event today in school, and then art and literature are taking place on Friday. The competition state level will actually be at the high school this year, and it is looking like we're heading to nationals in Des Moines, Iowa. We've kind of already preemptively started fundraising, maybe a little bit egotistical, but we're doing really good. Right?
Confident. You're confident.
Yeah.
Des Moines. Sounds like a great place.
Well, next year it's in California, so. Civil rights and esports are both like back up now, which is really good because since we didn't really like have them as much at the beginning of the year. Civil rights kind of had like a rocky start, but we do have a lot of interest in it, which is really nice. And esports is also getting back started up. It's really just a great opportunity for students who may not be like as interested in like sports, but still want to like find their people. And it really is just like so awesome to see. Sophomore class is taking trips to LRTC, looking at careers or like LRTC programs that might interest them as upperclassmen. So that is pretty cool. And oh my God, Lily wrote this, guys. Wait, I also egotistical again. I won the state personally won the regionals competition for Poetry Out Loud. So I'm going to the state competition in March. That was Lily who wrote that.
That's a big deal.
No,
And that's
a
it.
big deal.
No, it feels
That's
weird.
on one of those good news slides.
Yeah.
Good
Any
news slides.
questions?
I won't. You're also presenting at a national conference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really look at the
Marco, I look at him.
You might want to give prizes out.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
So brutally honest tonight, huh?
Well, Lily's not here, so I have no filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Aspen. Let us know what those fundraising.
We're selling coffee. I think that's the first one that we're doing. It's already started. So contact an academic decathlete for a bunch of coffee. It's really good. I've tried it.
Like dried coffee?
Yeah, like bags, 1 pound bags of coffee
Yeah.
beans. We get I think 45% of the profits from it, and we're also planning more like Applebee's and like McDonald's fundraisers too, where we get the profits from the sales that they make. So lots of good things coming up.
Cool. Thank you.
Where do we buy the coffee?
Talk to Aspen.
I think it's called the Giving Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like online?
Yes, and then I think that students will also have like order forms physically as well. I know we get more from the physical order forms than we do from the online form.
So will you bring one next time?
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bring some in.
I got you, Marco.
Rob didn't tell me about
My
it.
goodness.
He didn't. He reads it. He doesn't tell anybody. Keeps it to himself.
Use it to
Yeah.
himself.
There you go.
Aspen, is there a code for the online purchasing that we would have to punch in, or?
I believe that it is just a QR code,
Okay.
so I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe somebody can get it to us. We can get it into the minutes or
Yeah,
something, and we'll
Yeah.
get all that out there.
Well, we
That's
can
awesome.
have Marco can make a good news slide for it, Marco.
There you go.
You can make a good news slide for that fundraiser.
Oh, so it can go on the website.
I could easily pull it back.
Oh, for sure.
At work, easily.
Go
We
ahead.
had the flyer right now.
I'm so sorry. I should have brought it.
Yeah.
Sheena's coming.
Not yet. There we go.
I just wanted to add, so we had 4 drivers out on Monday. We had 4 sick drivers. They started at 3:30, 4:30, I don't remember. I wanted to give a shout out to the administrative assistants at the buildings and the drivers. We decided to pick up everybody who we could. We made phone calls to parents as fast as we could that morning, letting them know, like, we'll get your kids to school. Let us know if you have a hardship. And in the afternoon, Sue, who drives the blue bus, she said, you know what? Give me Tammy's run. I will get her kids home. And Sue probably spent an extra 45 minutes that evening getting kids home, everybody who we could. And all day we were making phone calls as fast as we could. And it was just really amazing to see everybody working together, adding that workload to their already busy days. So just wanted to give that out to them.
Thank you, Sheena. I second that. Okay. On to our old business. Sabatis Primary School closing updates. Do we have any information?
So really the only update is, as you know, we submitted our packet of information to the Department of Education, and then the towns had a 10-day review for any questions. And when we checked on the 10th, so February 11th was the last day for comments and questions. On the 10th, they had not received any. So now what we're waiting for is the amount that I think probably needs to be part of the warrant around what would it cost to keep it open. It's not going to be apples to apples. It's apples to oranges. right? Because we have to budget a certain amount to keep it open, and then they use actuals that have been expended with SPS. So it's not going to be like, oh, well, it's this amount to keep it open. That should match what's in the budget. So it's going to be a little bit confusing. We're going to have to work on communication around that. But we are waiting for that amount. Drummond and Woodsum is working on all the paperwork. So you're going to see on your meeting after February vacation is going to be a special meeting. So it is mostly budget workshop, but we're going to have the first item will be you approving the warrant to move forward for the public meeting. So we have to do things in a certain order. So hope to get all of that paperwork. You may not get it on your Friday. It might come when we get it from the attorneys and so forth. So it might be close on what will be on the agenda on Friday, but we'll have it as an agenda item, but the materials may be later. So we're on course and we're working through those details. So we're waiting for approval from the DOE around what we submitted.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you. Our new business to approve the first reading of the following policies. DN, school properties disposition.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? To approve the first reading of IHBA, individualized education programs.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? And to approve the first reading of ILD, educational research, student submission to surveys, analyses, or evaluations.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? To approve the reading of the following procedure. JLF-R, reporting child abuse and neglect administrative procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Alrighty. Other business this evening? I don't believe we have anything. Committee reports, Personnel Policy Committee, Christy.
Sure, we can go first. We reviewed 4 policies that will be coming to you. And then also just want to recognize that there were 3 policies that we actually approved this session, this year. I don't even know, this school year. Policy ACAA, policy AC, policy ACAB. That will also be coming to you, and due to recent federal changes, our recommendation is going to be to revert back to the 2020 previously accepted policy, and we'll highlight in red what those changes are. That will kind of just revert back. So know that you're going to get policies that we just approved that we have to revert back due to federal changes, and then these new ones. So the first new one that's coming to you is not going to be a surprise. Policy JJIBB, which is our new sportsmanship policy. We did not have a sportsmanship policy on the books and feel like we need to. The second one is policy GBN, which is around family medical leave. This is a policy that hadn't been updated, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, since 2004. So we've updated the state and federal law around this. So you'll see that highlighted in red coming to you. Another new policy, which is IMBAA, alternatives to biological dissection. We did not have a policy around that, and this is within the offerings of our current curricula, so we felt like we needed to have a policy around alternatives to dissecting animals and other things. And then finally, policy JI, which is student rights and responsibilities, and we updated this to reflect the student responsibilities. So prior to, it just kind of had a sentence of what was the expectation. So we've added what the responsibilities are. So those will be coming to you for our next scheduled board meeting.
And that one was also since 2000.
Yeah, that one was also since 2002. So
So
they needed
these
to be
are old.
updated.
They
They're
need to be
old. Questions?
No? Okay, thank you, Christy.
I do just have one. Sorry.
Oh,
Any
ahead.
update on the superintendent search? Is that within that group 2?
We will talk about that in executive session.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have more for you tonight. Finance and facilities.
All right. We discussed quite a bit. So let's see. Some of the old business was main paid family medical leave update. Currently, we have. I guess it's all based on who gets adopted into it or folded into it is based on their collective bargaining agreement. So right now it's support staff and individual non-collective bargaining agreement individuals. This July, admin will start to pay in, and then next July and September or October, it'll be professional staff teachers and professional staff assistants in that. Libby Tozier improvements. Apparently the floor is going as scheduled, and it should be completed summer of 2025, this summer. And it should be paid out of this fiscal year. Let's see. January financial reports. Overall, we're at about 58%. I have that. 58% of the year completed. And our revenue is at 58.41%, and our expenses are at 54.7%. Key things there were some key things. Transportation, the costs were a little bit more, if I remember right, a little bit more than anticipated, or it usually is expected. The bigger one was nutrition, was at like 61%. For the year, and we're at 58% of the year. So that was another discussion point that came up, was the nutrition. Looking at ways to try to keep that reined in the budget. The capital improvement fund discussion kind of came up with kind of just debating on the use and how to implement if we need to go that way. Investments was another thing that was kind of a discussion key point as far as trying to invest in CODs so that we can improve the interest that we accrue normally on our funds that are in the bank, to try to do that. And I guess there's different ladder approaches to them so they can appreciate at different time periods, maybe 3 months, 6 months, or that kind of thing, so that the money is still fluid in them and not locked in for long term. ED 279 highlights. We got kind of a sheet for us, just kind of going over like an overview thing, but more details are to come during the budget talks in the next couple of meetings. So yeah, that was that. I think that I covered the majority of it, I guess, for what we covered. We actually had a lot of side branching discussion points, so it was pretty good. It was a good meeting today.
It's the importance of fresh bread cooking.
Yes, fresh. I think
we were all a little hungry.
We were all in agreement that fresh bread in school would really help morale.
Oh, exactly.
I remember. That's how it used to be.
Thanks, Doug. Any questions,
Yes.
comments? Okay, so that brings us to board member comments. Go ahead, Laura.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to congratulate the students with the honor roll that was in the Sun Journal, and everyone that has their role in that. I also wanted to say thank you for mailing the high school report cards. I still think that it's sometimes challenging to navigate all the different systems. So it did make it home, and it's up on the refrigerator. So that was nice to see. For the upcoming budget season, I do just would like to maybe try to include some of the additional things that, if we can, I know the meetings are tight, but all of the other pieces that go into supporting our schools. So I know at the high school specifically, they have boosters, PTA. There's probably some other groups off the top of my head that I'm forgetting, but it would just be nice to kind of recognize all of the volunteers and pieces that go into supporting staff and students in some of those other spaces, as well as maybe some of the financial pieces that those groups contribute to helping the success of our programs. And then lastly, I think it would be really nice to see a volunteer recognition, kind of similar to the bus drivers and all of the things that we say often here of thanking people for things. But I think it would be nice if we could incorporate maybe a dedication for other people being able to recognize. I think of some of the sports and events and the plays and all of some of our support that people give their time to often. I see a lot of the same people at the Snack Shack or the doors and, all of those pieces that help too. So I would like to kind of see that happen.
All right. Thank you, Laura. Go ahead, Diane.
I'd like to thank all the teachers and technology administrators for all their help in getting remote days off. I know my grandkids love doing remote days, and I went there and they're telling me, be quiet. So I had to leave because they were having their school day. And I would like to say thank you to the bus drivers for accommodating those parents who couldn't get their kids to school and being able to send them to school. And pick them up and bring them home. So that was awesome. Also, I went on the website after Aspen said that about the Giving Bean. So if you go on and you look under partner and you just type in Oak Hill High School Academic Decathlon Team supporters, and it says Wales, Maine, you can order right through there. So just that.
Cool. Thanks, Diane. Anybody else? Go ahead, Doug.
Again, thank you to everybody, all the teachers and staff and everything. I mean, it goes without saying, but it needs to be said too. I hate to bring up negative stuff, but I feel like it's important while it's still kind of new, is that Carrie Ricker, the bathrooms are kind of getting destroyed. And we had a letter go out to the parents, and they were all upset about the water being shut off. But from what I understand, it's quite a bit of damage that's being constantly done to those bathrooms. And I think it's important for going into the budget season that if we want to keep the budget down, we need to keep the facilities functioning and not allow it to get damaged as much as it's getting constantly. And it's not just Carrie Ricker. All the schools kind of deal with this. I remember last year it was the middle school was getting destroyed quite a bit too. So it's more of I definitely appreciate all the staff that has to, and the custodial staff that has to deal with all this. This is just adds another level of challenge to an already challenging environment. And you hate to have to bring stuff like this up, but I think that it's important to say it and to keep this communication going on this. That these are the things that everybody just steps up to try to deal with it and just treat it like it's another day at work. But these are things that can be constantly grinding when we're dealing with trying to keep a budget in check and trying to, for the staff that have to deal with this all the time, and you can only do so much. So I guess I'm just kind of reaching out to parents and that kind of stuff to just have a talk about trying to respect the facilities and the personnel at the facilities, please. It kind of piggybacks a little bit off of the sportsmanship stuff. We got to kind of get together if we're going to make it through all these tough times. So.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Anybody else? I want to remind my fellow board members, if you have not submitted your board evaluation, that it was due today. so I won't say who did or who didn't. I did receive yours, Doug. I know you were worried that you weren't able to attach it or something, but I did get it. So thank you, everybody. I know it is an added thing to our already ridiculous laundry list of things to do. But I would like to be able to get those finalized, and we'll have that information for our next board meeting. I also want to thank everybody for the remote learning, which, I mean, I'll be 100% honest here. I think I was in the meetings last year too. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't have time to sit with my children. But it's not an easy decision to make. And Katie and I talked a long time last week about making that call and everything that she does behind the scenes. I want to say, she does not take these decisions lightly. She considers everybody, every angle, from public works to the working parent to the staff. But the Zoom was not working, and my 5-year-old, oh man, if the snow wasn't on the ground, I was driving her to school.
Tomorrow will be better.
Tomorrow will be better.
Yes, we'll see. Yeah, but I mean, the 5-year-olds had a plan to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They were going to wear their cute PJs, and they were just determining which stuffy they were going to show and tell. And then my son was on Zoom all day, to the point where he had to come plug in. I didn't know he was in the kitchen, so I apologize for the colorful language because I didn't know he was there. And I work from home, and he was right outside my bedroom office, and I get, "Hi, Gradeds, Mom." It's like, oh, they heard me. So, but anyway, thank you. It is not an easy decision, and we know it is not easy for working parents, and it's not, it's not easy for me either, and I don't like it, but my children love it. And they were fine with it, so as long as we have the Zoom working for the 5-year-olds, so we'll be good. You don't want a 5-year-old mad at you. That brings us to, unless anybody has anything else, all right? I usually go last, so I try to go last. Executive session, to enter into executive session for the purpose of 1 MRSA 405 6D labor negotiations.
So moved.
Second.